watching, or listening
to A2theK.
The A2theK.
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 These guys are awesome. Check it out.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.
So we are here with the current women's champion of TNT Extreme Wrestling, the Liver Bird, Lizzy Evo. Welcome to the show, Lizzy.
Hi, you all right?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, by the way.
No
problem. Obviously,
Appreciate it.
no, it's a bit special for us because we're all local. It's the first
Yeah,
time we've
I know,
had a fellow Scouser on. It's good.
Oh, my first Scouser to be on.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
We had Tony Knox the other week, so I
He doesn't count down, does he?
No, exactly.
Nah.
Yeah, he's a flatty Scouser. I mean, we are as well. We're Wolves, really. So, but, you know.
At least you're honest about it.
Well, you know.
So so obviously the first question, which will be a fairly big question for us, is if you could just sort of give us an idea of how you got into the crazy world of wrestling.
Yeah, so I always tell this story, you know, it never gets old. I was mad into WWE, like only because my cousin introduced me to like watching wrestling at such a young age.
Yeah.
And then they started coming over here to, you know, run the Echo Arena and stuff.
Mm.
So I always wanted to get the best seats. So I was like to my mum, can we go on camp for wrestling tickets? So she did. My mum did. She was boss. She did all stuff like that for me when I was younger. And they just, I always wanted to be a wrestler, but I didn't know where to train and stuff.
Mm.
So it was mad how it happened. When I think back to it now, there was a girl there giving leaflets out for the training school in Runcorn. And I was like, oh, Mum, can I please go? Can't believe it. But I was too young at the time. I think I was like 11 or 12. So I couldn't hack any longer. So when I turned 13, just before I was 14, I was like, can I just see if I can go? And if I can go, can I start training? And it just started from there. But I remember the first wrestling show I ever watched that got me into wrestling was actually TNA. Believe it or not. Yeah.
That's insane. Who, like, you know, obviously you said you got into it when you were like around about 11 or so. Who would you say was like your big inspirations and stuff at that point in time? Who was it that, you know, kind of got you into
it? I think everyone who knows me knows like I had a bad obsession for Randy Orton. Like it was 12-year-old me thought I was going to marry him. Like it was that bad. So I'd probably say Randy Orton, and for the girls it was probably Trish Stratus for a while, and then oddly it was Maria.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Because she obviously started out as like an interviewer, didn't she, before she got into the ring and stuff?
That's why it was like oddly, if for some reason it was just something about it that I liked. So she was the reason I wanted to be a wrestler.
To be fair, I always thought she did very good character work, to be fair.
Yeah.
Might not have done a lot in the ring, but her character work was always really good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So you've obviously, you've been sort of all around the British wrestling scene over the last few years. Obviously, most notably in TNT at the moment, but you've wrestled for Defying and the like as well. And obviously you've worked with certain, I'd say, wrestling royalty in Britain, such as the Knight family and the likes of Robbie Brookside's daughter, Zaya Brookside. So just wonder what's it been like, sort of wrestling people who you've most likely sort of seen in the British wrestling scene or even seen on TV before?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's like it's a mad feeling when it's someone you've watched for a while and you've never met, and then like for instance when I wrestled Soraya, like the build up to it was TNT booked me and said to me like, we don't have an opponent yet. So then the closer to the day, I'm not used to that, like I'm used to that anyway, so that doesn't bother me. But I saw that she was on the poster, so I'm like, oh. Like she's the only one I was nervous leading up to it about, because I think it was like 2 days before he messaged me. He was like, yeah, you've got Soraya. So I was like, yeah, 2 days before. But no, I learned a lot. She was a lovely person to me as well. Like she could tell obviously get my vibes. Like I think I was only 17 at the time, maybe 18 when I wrestled her, so I was quite young. So she was just reassuring and stuff, but also in the way that you need it, like you're in this industry, like why are you acting like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So not in them words, but that was like the way I would put it to someone who was acting the way I was acting.
Right.
So it was like I was a bit nervous, but once I just like got comfortable and stuff, it was fine. But yeah, it was a good feeling to wrestle it. And like even still now, my neighbour watched Fighting with My Family not that long ago. She was like, "Didn't you wrestle that girl?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like that's my claim to fame now. But yeah, wrestling's Zaya was good as well. Like we wrestled not that long before before lockdown.
Oh yeah.
I think it was for All Star.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've wrestled a few times like in the past before, but there was just something like this time around we just clicked, and it was a nice feeling because I feel like we both went on different paths to different places and we both found who we were as people and as wrestlers. So then when we actually like locked up again the last time, it meant more to me. And I think even to where she said like that's the best time we've wrestled and we've clicked together. And I feel like that's important in wrestling. Like you've got to actually click with who you're wrestling with, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I think I totally agree with that. I mean, you see it in the big leagues in WWE, like when two people have chemistry in the ring, they can put on an incredible match for that reason. So yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, chemistry's massive. You've got to like it's like football, like got to have chemistry with a football team, otherwise it just doesn't flow, does it? So
exactly, yeah.
Like it's just general, like you've got to have good chemistry, and there's very few that I do have chemistry with.
Oh yeah, no, I'd agree. Yeah.
No, definitely. I think it's nice that, as you said, you both kind of went on your own different kind of paths and stuff, and you've come back, and the most recent meeting that you've had kind of felt like you've both learned a lot, and you've both come back together. It's your best match. That's kind of lovely. Interesting on the football analogy. You can have really bad chemistry and support like Liverpool, or you can have really good and support Everton like me. But only joking.
Shots fired.
Episode in there. It might be the only thing.
I knew you were going to do that at some point tonight, Carl.
Oh, he had to, didn't he?
Well, actually, no, because it does kind of flow on to my next question, really, because you mentioned kind of obviously working quite locally and stuff as well as a lot further afield. I suppose being from Liverpool, and obviously with Liverpool so kind of ingrained with your character, the Live Bird and Virgil van Strijk and stuff like that. Like how do you how are the audiences and stuff? Because do you find if you perform in Manchester, for example, you've just got a load of Mancs just like booing you and stuff, even if you're playing the face and stuff like that, or do you get like a load of crap from Everton fans and stuff? Like how is it?
Oh, mate. So when I wrestle TNT shows, it's I've said this to Jay before, and I think I even captioned it on one of my pictures. Like, what team do them fans support? Because I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I don't even see any blue noses amongst them. I just see in fact, I don't even see any football fans amongst them. So, but when I go to Manchester, I've always played heel. So I've always played a villain. So I've not had to go to Manchester being myself, who I am. Because when I wrestle for TNT, I'm just me.
Yeah,
that's who I am.
I mean, do you think you can go to Manchester with obviously the gimmick you've got of being the Live Bird and expect anyone to cheer for you? I suppose. You know what I mean? It's just it must be tough. That I think of obviously Shawn Michaels can't go to Montreal. Can you go to Manchester? A similar thing, But
no, it really is. So I think that might be a goal I might have to achieve. Like if I can go to Manchester and get loads of Mancs to cheer for me, that means I'm boss at my job. So that's something I need. That's something I need to work on.
Perfect.
I'm gonna start Googling how to please Mancs.
So my next one is a bit of a probably I don't know, a difficult one, sensitive one maybe. But obviously there's been a lot of controversies in the British wrestling scene as of late. So being someone who's been so ingrained in the British wrestling scene for so long, I just wanted to sort of ask how do you find the environment in the British wrestling scene for women in your own experience?
in my own experience now, like, are we talking like from when I first started up to now?
Yeah, because obviously there's a world of difference once you sort of know the scene a bit more as well.
So I think with me being such a young age, I'm just going to dive right in with it because I've already spoke about like what I went through in my past and stuff with when I first started wrestling. But it was more than just that. Like, there was more than just him. Like, there's people that didn't get named.
Yeah.
In the whole movement, speaking out movement, that are quite lucky to have not been named, really. Like, they're not involved in wrestling anymore, therefore that's why their names didn't get brought through the mud.
Yeah.
But if they were to ever try and come back to wrestling, I'd be the first one to say, no, you can fuck right off, because there's been this many people. Like, I believe in, like, if you want to have your voice heard, then you have to be loud with it. So all my life, my mum and dad drilled it in my head, like, if you truly believe that what you're saying and what you're bringing is right, then voice your opinion as loud as you possibly can, because if you trust that's right, then that's right to you. So, like, there was, when I was 15, so I was still with the one I wrote a story about. But in the meantime, like, so during that whole year I was with him, there was so many wrestlers that would message me, and he knew about it, obviously, because he had my passwords to all social media apps and stuff. So I barely seen them before he did. Do you get what I mean? So there was one off a wrestler that was really, really popular that he's not in wrestling anymore. And it was on my 16th birthday. So I literally, on the day, I woke up to a message off him saying, "You're legal now, right?" But like before that, I remember having fan pictures with him, like when I'd gone to shows and I was cheering for him and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it made me feel a bit sick then, thinking like, you sent me that picture to me on private messages and stuff. And now you're asking me if I'm like legal and stuff. But that's just only a tiny bit of it, that what goes on. Like, there's so much that has actually been said to me, and not just me, every single girl that started wrestling. Like, we're not protected enough, and that's why I've always been like grateful enough to voice my opinion and protect myself in a sort of way. But there's a few girls and even lads that go through with it. They can't voice their opinions and they can't voice their truth, so they need people to speak for them, which is why I always say, anyone who struggles with that type of thing, or even anything in general, and you don't physically want to say it yourself, I'll be there fully to support anyone in that, because I've been that young girl looking for someone to voice me, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
So I just don't feel like now, obviously we've not had a show since COVID and since the whole speaking out movement.
Yeah.
But I do think it will be a bit different, but I don't think it's going to be much different, because there's still people who don't give a shit what's gone on. Don't give two shit. But I bet you if it was the sister or the mom or the daughter, then they give a shit. Or that's just the way the world works, and unfortunately there's a lot of demons in it.
But I mean, hopefully, because there's been a lot come out in the speaking out movement, and there's been a lot of hopefully change coming, even in terms of the government and how these things are controlled and regulated. So with any luck, it might make some great strides to sort of help in that environment, because unfortunately it can be a very toxic environment.
Yeah, definitely. Like, go on, I'll let you go.
Oh no, go on. No, carry on.
No, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, like, thank you for obviously, sharing that with us and stuff like that, because
don't worry about it. If it raises awareness for like one person, then I'm happy. So if it does the job for a few, then that's me more than happy to deal with what I've gone through and have to speak about it, because it does help when other people have been through it with you, and you can sit and express how you feel with them, and they can give it back, and it's genuine, because I think that's what means the most. You just want someone who will listen and understand you in that situation.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
So I think obviously you mentioned then around like how, like things have grown and changed and stuff like that. And obviously we follow along with obviously you for a while now on socials and stuff like that. And I think maybe even yourself over the kind of last year or two, you kind of mentioned around like your own personal transformation, and we see a lot of stuff from you that's really kind of uplifting and things like that. And we can see it in your personality now just from speaking with you and things.
Yeah.
But like do you feel like you've been through quite a big kind of self transformations over the kind of the last year, and when COVID hopefully does bugger off and we can get back to normal again and we can have a show, do you think you're looking forward to bringing maybe like a new you to to your shows?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think when I split up with CJ, that was when things started to like change for me. I started to look at the world differently. And I think because although I had goals and dreams in life, when you're that much in love with someone and you put them first all the time, you kind of fall back on your dreams and your goals. Not fall back on them completely, but they just get pushed aside sort of thing. So for me I feel like a lot of the time as well, I was hiding who I was. Not hiding who I was, but not fully embracing who I truly am. So like when we split up and I had no choice but to just see and deal with stuff, that was when I started to realise like who I am now. So I think it all started really when I spoke about what had happened to me in the past and stuff. And because it was out there on such a big platform for the world to see, you have to heal. You have no choice. So, and to be honest, I didn't expect it to get the reaction that it got because I didn't have many followers at the time and I didn't have much of a fan base. So I just expected it to help, a few girls who've been going through it or like I said before, in the wrestling business. But for it to reach that many people and like get that much response, it was overwhelming. So I kind of had to deal with it and just heal. So I've done a lot in the last few months, like even like body transformation and stuff. Like once you change your mind to think differently about things, then the whole outside changes as well. Like once I started to wake up and appreciate stuff differently than I did before, everything just like fit into place for me. It was a bit overwhelming at first, but like once you realise you've got a good love and support system around you, then like nothing really affects you that much anymore.
Yeah.
And I am really, really grateful to have that in my life at the minute. Like without that, I don't think I'd be as strong as I am today.
No, it's amazing. So obviously WWE, one of the main people who they like to talk about the women's evolution, and how women's wrestling has changed in recent years. So what I wanted to ask really is like, what do you think towards the likes of the likes of intergender matches that sort of promote that more sort of equality in terms of the like I suppose the main event status and the status of matches for women? Do you think intergender matches sort of play a big role in that, or is it just giving the women's matches a higher platform?
I suppose it's whichever way you want to look at it really, but I've never really had the way when I got taught, right, this is the best way I can say it. When I first got taught how to wrestle and like properly, I mean like by John Kenny, he said to me, when you come through the doors, you're a female, you're you. But as soon as you step in the ropes, you're a wrestler. And like it's never left me. It's like it's never ever left me. Like regardless of your gender, I think you're in that sport. Do you get what I mean? Like you're there, and as long as both of the people who are wrestling at each other are completely fine with it, then I don't see like there's a problem. But I do get like where a lot of people don't. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I can understand that.
No, definitely.
No, it's fair. I mean, we've seen obviously we see like WWE particularly sort of standoffish about that sort of thing, but we've seen the likes of TNA, they've gone full throttle with it, and they actually had a woman as their world champion at one point. So like you say, I think it sort of depends on how comfortable the wrestlers themselves are and how comfortable the audience are with it, I guess.
Yeah, it's got to fit for the audience as well. Otherwise, you're gonna get complaints and
Yeah, of
all
course,
the other
yeah.
stuff that follows with it. Yeah, which I totally understand that, but it's like I don't know how to explain it. Like being a wrestler, and I'll be totally honest. These times when I would rather wrestle the men, I would rather wrestle the lads. Like it's nothing against the girls, nothing like that. I just feel like I should be a man and I connect better with them, like chemistry. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it boils back down to that. Yeah.
I feel like that's what it is. Like I think it's because I wrestle like one of the lads, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you've got a pretty savage knee to the face, to be fair.
Yeah. Thanks.
So I think I mentioned before, obviously, so many moons ago when I first met Tony Knox, so I trained to be a wrestler for a little bit when I was like 16. So in GPW, which was Garage Pro at the time, is now Grand Pro in Wigan
Yeah.
way. So that's where I met Tony. But I remember kind of when I was coming up and stuff, like obviously you'd do the drills and stuff with the girls at the same time, you know, and stuff anyway. So it didn't really matter really that much. But there was only like one or two kind of girls at the time who would be in the school. You know, obviously,
Yeah.
you know, he's still so young, but at the same time, you're like a massive vet, really. You know, you've been doing it for so long. Like, you know, have you seen that change quite a bit? Like, do you see more kind of women now kind of getting into it, or you know, do you still feel like it is just like not really that many coming through?
No, I do feel like there is a lot more now. Like when I first started years ago at my training school, there was only me and another girl at the time. So like you, there was two.
Yeah.
But the longer I was there, more girls did come. Like I don't know if you know Jamie Sparks. She started training there. A couple of girls did come through. But I feel like now it is like when you go to training schools now, there's a lot more girls there, and it's a lot more relaxing to see that for me, because I would have loved that when I was training back then. Like that would have been really nice to have a lot of female girls there, like friendly faces that you could connect with. You get it? Maybe that's why I flow with the lads better.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, you're thrown at the deep end. Only, you know, two of you there. You know, what I mean, you kind of got no choice, have you, but to get along. So.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right there. Oh, you just brought back some nasty memories.
Oh no. Move on.
Yeah, go.
So, obviously, you are currently the TNT Extreme Wrestling Women's Champion. But we note obviously you did a fair bit of work for what was WCW, which became Defiant and then became defunct, sadly. But you were also their Women's Champion for a while as well. Now, I personally, I was a big fan of What Culture at the time. Anyway, I was a big fan of WCPW. I thought it was quite impressive to go from a YouTube channel to creating this promotion out of nowhere. So how did you find yourself sort of working for Defiant? How did you find experience? Because obviously they were pulling in some big names at the time, like the likes of Wade Barrett and Eric Bischoff and various people like that. I mean, do you have any sort of any memories from Defiant where you met some sort of ex-WWE people or some big stars from your childhood?
I mean, like it's mad to explain, because you know, the longer you wrestle for, like meeting people who you used to look up to doesn't really feel the same. I don't know why, but maybe
I
me
suppose it's
younger,
that behind the curtain thing, isn't it?
yeah, maybe, but my younger self would have probably been buzzing inside at some of the people like I met. But I remember, I always wanted to wrestle for when they were What Culture. It was a massive goal of mine. Like I could never ever get in touch with the man who run it. Like, I don't know, there was just something that always stopped me. Like, I'd get sidetracked doing something else, or I'd get booked on the day that they were free, or, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then this one day, a girl messaged me. She was like, "Can you do a show for Defiant?" And because I was at work, I didn't see the message till later. She was like, it's all right now, they've got someone else. So like I was like, oh, that was my only chance. Are you messing me? And then I went to World of Sport with CJ when he was doing the World of Sport tour. And I got speaking to Rampage backstage. And we'd spoke before at shows, but he'd basically said that he put a good word in at Defying for me because he liked how it worked and stuff. Now, to me, that meant a lot because Rampage is like, in wrestling, to me, he's the biggest star over here. Like,
I mean, it was a huge name in
he's amazing.
In Defiant at the time as well. I think it might have been when it was WCPW, but he was their world champion at one point as well, wasn't he? He was a big deal for them.
Yeah, so I know that he had a helping hand in getting me booked at Defiant, and I know Martin Kirby did as well. There was a few more. I'm not sure who, but them two were the main two. So
yeah,
I thank them a lot, like more than they know, because they really did help me take off. Because although I've been wrestling for a lot, like 4 or 5 years before I wrestled for Defiant, it was maybe that was the big step for me that I did realize, like, I can do this, like I am good enough to do this, because for Defiant to book the people that they booked, the names, the crowds they pulled in, so for them to have that much faith and belief in what I could bring to their shows and to put me over the way they did, like that was enough to make me believe in myself even if I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like that was massive for me, that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Brilliant.
When you were with Defiant as well, so you previously wrestled as Lizzy Styles, didn't you? Until you kind of became Lizzy Evo. What brought about the change? Have you kind of refined your character to make, Lizzy Evo something separate from Lizzy Styles?
Yeah, so it was mainly, the main one was there's a porn star called Lizzy Styles. So like
Okay.
So I was just, my nephew one day was like, can I watch you on YouTube? So I got it up for him and I was like, what is that?
Oh,
like
no.
I shit myself and was like trying to get like so then I had to keep typing in Lizzy Styles wrestler, and it was all just I couldn't be bothered with it. Plus the name originally came from being a massive fan of One Direction when I was 13 and I loved Harry Styles. So that's where Lizzy Styles came from. And I think it was the right choice to move on from the name. Like there's a few people who were at NXT UK now who did say to me long before, I think you need to change the name and stuff, like move away from the name. But it was just finding the right one for myself.
Yeah.
Like I tried a few times, and then I noticed like when I wrestle, I'm just myself. Like I don't change anything about myself when I wrestle. Like, and I speak my mind. So I thought I'm just gonna be me, and I just use my own name, which is Lizzy Evo. So my name's Lizzy Evans, so I just shortened it. And because my nan passed away, and that was her name, I want to carry the name on, like I made that name a meaningful name to her in her memory. So that was mainly the reason for the Lizzy Evo change.
That's brilliant. And apologies because we appear to be saying Evo.
Don't worry about it, because you know
I have not.
I haven't said anything because everyone says it, and it's like
it's because we're wolves and we're trying to be more scout, so we're like Evo.
That's what I was gonna say. It's you woolly backs. You can't say it, can you?
That's it. It's like Evo doesn't sound scout enough. I'll say Evo. There you
go.
Right. So obviously you mentioned that you were a big fan of the likes of WWE and TNA when you were younger. Do you still watch the current product, or is it a bit like a busman's holiday in some senses?
Yeah, like I fell out of love with watching wrestling a long time ago. Like it's not, and I can't find. I've got lots of time. I just can't find the time to watch it. It's crazy. I feel like there's something else that I should be doing when I shouldn't be, because that's my goal. Do you know what I mean? I should be wanting to be better at that and stuff, but I don't know what it is. I just can't watch wrestling anymore. I think I've spoke to a lot of people who started wrestling as well who say the same. I can't, like I do catch up with it, but I can't sit and watch the full show anymore, like of any promotion, like not just, even if I'm on it, I can't sit and watch the full, like when if they send you the show back to, unless someone says to me, can you watch this match for me please, like I just can't. I don't know why. I just can't.
No, I get that. And you still keep an eye on Randy Orton, like, or?
Maybe. His Instagram, maybe.
I know, yeah. I was going to make a joke before when you were like, I don't really get that much, starstruck anymore. I was like, well, we've got a surprise. Randy Orton just rocks up at your house, like.
I think that would be the only time I would fangirl, That would definitely be the only time.
So kind of the next one I've got for you. So I know you said you don't really watch it that much and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be anybody even in the big leagues necessarily, but who out there is someone that you would love to wrestle that you haven't had the chance to wrestle yet?
Well, I do catch up with the girls in WWE because there's a lot there that I do want to work with. Like Sasha Banks, I've always said it works unreal. Her character work, her wrestling, everything about her. She's got everything you aspire to be. Do you get what I mean? So I think she's a massive one who I want to wrestle. Emma Moon as well. I think she's unreal.
Yeah,
I think I'd have a good match with her. Like not in WWE, and actually, my ultimate goal at the minute is to wrestle Jenny. I want to wrestle Jenny so bad. I've been saying it for years and years, and it's never happened. But I really want to wrestle Jenny. I think we'd do well together.
Nice.
Bro.
There's so many to think of. They keep coming to me.
All of them. Anyone you haven't wrestled, get in the ring, find the chemistry.
Yeah, I challenge you all.
So, I mean, that's sort of pretty much it for our questions, really. But we do obviously, I mean, you've got a bigger fan base than us in all fairness, but we do like to sort of put the opportunity out there. If you want to mention your sort of social medias or any merchandise you might have on sale or anything like that, just for our listeners, if they want to sort of check it out.
Yeah, so at the minute, I don't currently have t-shirts for sale because the website went down. So I do have 8x10 still available and new ones I'm taking pre-orders for this week. And you can get them on all my social medias, which is Lizzy Evo 8 on everything. I think it is anyway. I don't know.
How funny would that be? On everywhere, it's like one thing.
I think it's Lizzy Evo _8 on Instagram, so make sure you put the underscore in.
But for those listening or watching, we will provide the links in the description anyway below.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Honestly, absolutely loved it. So, yeah. Really
no, I have as well. I really have enjoyed it. And you know what? I can still hear the Scouse in your accent, so it's made it a little bit more fun for me.
That's it. But no, we do appreciate it because obviously there are some we appreciate you sort of talking about some of the difficult topics as well. We do really appreciate.
No,
that.
honestly,
it helps get that message across, and it's a good thing. So yeah, so we won't sort of keep you any longer than that. We'll let you carry on. And again, thank you very much.
Monopoly Events presents For the Love of Wrestling, Europe's largest wrestling convention, back in Liverpool, the Exhibition Centre, between the 15th and 16th of May. Guests this year include Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, the Icon, the Showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania Shawn Michaels, 3-time WWE champion, 3-time TNA champion. Things are about to get extreme with Jeff Hardy. 7 times women's champion, Diva of the Decade and Hall of Fame star Trish Stratus. Grand Slam winner and the wrestling god, John Bradshaw Layfield. These and many, many more will be joining us in Liverpool. Find us on Facebook at For the Love of Wrestling. Visit our website, fortheloveofwrestling.co.uk. For tickets for entry and guests, visit ticketquarter.co.uk. That's ticketquarter.co.uk. For the Love of Wrestling. By the fans, for the fans.